comparison usually used to be the people in school,
the people who you are with. And remember, you are all kind of in the same place.
The same place.
So it was not a big deal, you know? Yeah, now you're comparing yourself with someone in the States.
With the whole world.
Yeah, the entire world is your competition now. You're like, God, it's a lot. There's a lot of pressure. So if we can let go of perfectionism.
I say let go. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. You know?
I even wonder where it came from.
Also ask yourself, the people who sometimes hold you to these standards, are they doing that because they're important to you? Or you're important to them?
You actually, none, actually, for the most part.
Yeah. So
with social media, you actually end up caring so much about what people think about you. People who don't even know you, you don't know, and they don't care about you.
Yeah. We're designed to be such social creatures that we need the connection, the human connection. So everyone is looking for love, affirmation, affection, you know. So that's why we are all on social media, actually. That's what it does for us.
Hello, and welcome to the Lioness Grotto podcast. My name is Anna Njoroge, and in this podcast, we share money, life, fashion, beauty, entrepreneurship, all the things that we experience as Black women and how to navigate them. And after all, you shouldn't have to do it alone. And I'm a firm believer that you don't have to go through every experience to learn from it. So we share, we encourage each other, we embrace each other as we go through this journey called life. In this podcast today, we discuss something that I don't think I've ever heard any Black woman not struggle with it. And this is the pressure to be perfect. As you go through life, you're told you need to be strong, resilient. But what does that really mean? And is it really what you want for your life? So with me today is an amazing, amazing woman, one of my very, very close friends, an entrepreneur, a mom, an amazing friend, overall well-rounded. And even just since I've known her in the last 8 years, I have seen her evolve. Kanyi Ohawa. And Kanyi, do you mind telling us who you are, what you do, what makes you this phenomenal, amazing woman?
Wow, I feel like I need to take a moment and just...
But you are.
Just absorb that. Okay, anyway, thank you for inviting me, first of all. What am I? Who am I? You know, I've been thinking about that a lot because we were having this discussion with a friend of mine about how our identity is tied up with what we do. Yeah. So I've been trying to be very intentional about how I describe myself. So this is what I came up with. I am 1, human, 2, creative, 3, curious, and 4, I think I'm a creature of joy, or I'm pursuing joy. Then there's what I do. Right. I'm a mom, I'm a creative, I'm an artist, I'm a fine artist, I'm a graphic designer, I am sometimes a teacher, I am hopefully a thought leader in the things that I have spent time studying. All of those things are a part of my identity.
That's amazing. And I love that you bring that up because a lot of us, when we are asked who we are, and I would speak about it from the perspective, even when you hear women speak in this country, the first thing they'll say, I'm a wife, I am a mom. So we tend to define ourselves based on what we do and what we are, the expectation of what others expect you to be in those roles. And we actually never dig deep enough to figure out who are you, what makes you you. And I love that you've gone through this journey because I don't think when I first met you, you had thought about that yet.
I was still there. My name is Kanyi Ohawa. I'm a wife and a mother of 4 children. And, but right now, what am I without, like, if I removed my, let's say, my external, my body, my soul, who's my soul?
Exactly.
And your soul is the essence of who you are. So what is my soul? What are the things that make my soul my soul?
That sing and happy and excited. What are those things?
Yeah. So for me, it's that I know for me, creativity is something that's embedded deeply inside me. And also that sense of curiosity. I'm so curious about everything, anything, everything, a sense of curiosity, and also, honestly, just joy. So I'm trying to build a life where joy can be the thing that I am and not the thing that happens sometimes.
Right.
Yeah. So
And
that's who I am.
I always knew that were there. The first time I ever saw it come through was actually your sister's birthday.
Oh.
And and no one had already met you.
Yeah.
And no one was dancing.
Yeah.
And I remember you just being out there carefree. And I'm like, I have found my soul. We're just going to dance and we don't care that no one else is. Those are their problems.
I actually do remember that night.
You remember that night?
Yeah. And for me, dancing is actually an expression of joy because, I dance like no one is looking. I feel like I'm transported by music. I do not have a musical bone in my body, but appreciation of music is my thing, so yeah, that's
and I
actually
remember
a
going,
joyful
wow,
moment.
I like her. Because I had met you before, but you were usually so reserved. And I remember even that night, I didn't want to come out.
Yeah.
Because I was somewhere else. And I remember I was wearing shorts.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, let's go.
It was actually the first time we were meeting you, so.
No, we had met.
Had
you? You and I had met.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, you and I had met.
Okay.
And I was wearing very short shorts. And I was like, do I want to meet them? And then typical me, I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Yeah.
And so for you, what is the definition of being perfect?
Man, I would have answered that question so differently a couple of years ago. One, I really think we need to look at the word perfection. What does perfection look like? Even when you look in creation, like how God created. Honestly, when you think about it, it makes sense because even in the Bible, perfection is an imperfect process.
It is very imperfect.
If you look at the story of creation and Adam and Eve and all of that, which I don't know whether I believe in, but there's a lot of and there's so many stories in the Bible that bring out the concept of I may be broken or I may be flawed, but I'm perfect. Even in nature, because one of the things I love nature. I worship nature,
I know. Yeah, the flowers.
Yes, the flowers and
the plants.
The plants and all of that stuff. The skies. I've spent a number of months just studying skies and clouds and things like that. And there is no formula for perfection. Perfection seems to be a construct that we've created as human beings to kind of give us something to always work towards.
Yeah.
Because we always need to be working towards something. So I don't know. Perfection is, to me, it sounds unattainable.
It is unattainable. And I usually say that. I say it is actually a quest in failure if you're going to pursue perfection. You will never achieve it.
Yeah.
But so many, we've been socialized to believe that we need to be perfect. So for you, before you got into this place where you're like, I am me, imperfectly perfect me, did you ever feel the pressure to be perfect?
Oh my goodness, I still feel it. Even now, it's just I ignore it. But yes, I needed to be the perfect mom to my 4 children, who I needed to make sure are all very well balanced and, happy, well-adjusted children. Needed to have the perfect job, which was already a bit of a struggle because I'm in the creative space. Traditionally that was not considered, a serious
A
job.
serious job.
Which I realized I was doing some self-work a couple of years ago, and I realized that was actually a thing for me, that I had a sense of shame for doing the thing that I've done,
The thing that you actually love.
the thing that I love,
Yeah.
and this is because of what society says that the perfect job needs to look like, I needed to be the perfect Christian woman, which I've really struggled with, because some of the thoughts I have are just, could probably get me jailed.
Yep.
So yes, the pressure has been there and it has been constant. I grew up in a traditional Presbyterian church, which even going to church on Sunday required that you wear your Sunday best, and please don't repeat it 2 Sundays in a row.
Oh, really?
There was always that pressure to show up polished and finished and collected. So that's something I'm very anti-perfection right now.
So when did you start transitioning? Did it happen? Did something, drastic happen and you decided, you know what? I need to reevaluate this? Or did it come over time?
I think it's something that I've struggled with for a very long time. I just didn't know it was the thing that I was struggling with. I needed to do a lot of self-work. So when I did things like the Landmark Forum, I started looking inwards. Before you become self-aware, you're always looking for your solutions out there. You look up to people, you read things, and then one day you start this journey inside. And sometimes looking inside is kind of messy.
It is very messy.
And painful.
And scary.
And, you see versions of you, you're like, hey, can we not tell anyone about that version? Because, it's not then look good, But I would say probably for me, the real switch came maybe about 10, 12 years ago, is when I started really thinking through, who am I? What's this pressure that I'm feeling? But the actual change, because I was actually just thinking about it then and feeling really guilty about the things that I was thinking about. The change for me came maybe about 5 years ago. That's when I was like, you know what? Give up this whole thing and just be you. And I'm saying that with some caution, because I'm not there. It's not a destination.
We actually never get there.
Yeah, it's not a destination. There's some days I could be the most judgmental person ever, judging another woman for, not showing up as her best self. And then there's some days where I can't even get out of my house because of the way I'm feeling, just imperfect, or not well put together, or whatever that looks like. There is the physical perfection, there is mental perfection, there is spiritual perfection. Like for instance, I know I struggled with prayer for a really long time. That thing where you're supposed to pray, and then here I am, a mom of 4, and I don't know how to pray. So we do the prayer thing with the children, like where you do for health and strength in our daily food, those kind of prayers. And I like those ones because, they were easy to say without thinking about them. But then when it came time to now pray, like I'm praying from my heart to God, most of the times I'd fall asleep. And I'd feel so guilty about that. In fact, I've never spoken about this. So, Mom, I'm sorry. But then I discovered, for me, prayer works when I'm writing it out. So for me, my prayers are written. This is how I best pray. When I want to have a conversation with God, I'll write it down. That's what works for me.
Yep. And it should be what works for you.
Exactly. And it really works for me. Then I'm able to have really open, raw conversations with my creator. I feel like when I'm painting, for me, it's also a form of prayer. It's like I'm communicating with my creator, because I'm trying to do what he did.
Yeah.
I'm recreating.
You're recreating.
But I'm kind of following in his footsteps. So when I'm painting, I feel like I try and capture those feelings that he must have felt when he was creating joy. That I don't know how this is going to turn out, but let's see.
Let's see.
And I think that's how we were created by them, because sometimes you look at some of the things that you have, even internally, you're like, God, you have a sense of humor, Yeah. So
Yeah.
so that for me is what my journey looks like at the moment.
How did perfection manifest for you? And how do you think it was formed that you need to be this perfect woman? And I know you said that, being how you become a mom. In what other ways, your job, in what other ways did it manifest?
Wow, even in my interactions with people, that I've always been, because I grew up I was a very reserved. Some people will find that hard to believe.
Actually, even I find that hard to believe.
I was actually the little mouse, the quiet mouse in the corner type of child. Never spoke out, never. I just observed and tried to be invisible most of my life, And so even in my interactions with people, and especially when I came into myself, then I felt this need to put on a mask, because I need to show up for people in a certain way. There are expectations of how I should show up, I still see it even now. I remember one time someone put up, a couple of years ago, I did some interview, and the lady put it up on her Facebook page and shared it with me so my audience could see it. And she said, this quiet, reserved lady. And there was a whole debate on my page.
Your audience must be like,
because guys were like, I'm sorry, who? And then there were those guys who said, yeah, but she's very quiet and polite and reserved and things like that. So there's that thing of, you feel the pressure, and it's an invisible pressure. It came from our parents. I don't know. It feels like a pressure in the air.
Because you don't even know that you are acting, I think. It just comes naturally. The acting is natural because you think that's who you're supposed to be.
That's who you're supposed to be.
And then you're having internal battles because you're not you, but you actually don't realize what is going on. So I was listening to, I can't remember the name, and it was actually a YouTuber, and a couple of women were talking. And I'm like, Black women have a way to show up as this carefully packaged but full of pain inside.
Yeah. In fact, one of the things that I've really struggled with is the concept that as a woman, I need to struggle, and I need to do it with grace, because my reward is in heaven one day.
Shouldn't it be here?
That is a concept I have been deconstructing lately, because who said that life is supposed to be a struggle?
Isn't.
Who decided that I, as a woman, especially as a woman,
and more so as actually mostly Black women, because there's this whole thing of the construct of the strong Black woman.
Yes.
You're supposed to be resilient.
I don't want to be resilient and strong.
And life is supposed to be hard, and somehow you're supposed to bear it with grace and show up perfectly coiffed, hair perfect, perfectly dressed, perfect children.
So that at your funeral, people can talk about how she was such a strong woman.
No.
There's a guy I was listening to the other day who was talking about this. He's called Garbo Mate, Professor Garbo Mate. And he talks about that, how women feel. And he talks about women generally really feel that pressure. Because as women, there's the burden of one, bringing up your family to be strong and well adjusted and all of those things. And there's the burden of also being able to bring home the bacon, or your share of the bacon, in the right type of job. And there's also something in our society about even your body as a woman.
Yeah, it's even that is not yours.
How do you look? I'm judging you on how you look, how you dress, what you eat, what basically someone else holds the license for me and decides who I'm going to be.
So you're supposed to fit perfectly in that box that was constructed by someone else.
Exactly. You know,
Based on, I don't even know what.
and then now add color to that, because I think it's a pressure that all women feel.
Yes.
And then now add color.
Add color.
Like now we are black women or Miros or whatever, trying to live to a standard that, one, we don't know who created it.
No, you actually don't even know. Like,
Yeah.
where did this even come from?
So then you go through your entire life never knowing who you really are. You can feel it, you can kind of sense it inside you, but because it's been so deeply buried, it's so hard to bring out. And the process of bringing out the essence of you is just, hey, it's a job, you know.
Yeah.
Because it's covered by layers of trauma and, you know, conditioning and churchism and all of those things, you know. And they're all done with good intention, but honestly, they're very, very harmful.
So I have a different experience. So I haven't actually started thinking about the pressure to be perfect until maybe the last 10 years. And it's from the perspective of now having real conversations with women, you know, who are close circle, you being one of them, and going deep and being real. And at first I was really shocked. I'm like, wait, people, that's a struggle? It's never been my struggle.
You're so lucky.
And I will credit my parents for that. One of the places it comes from is comparison. Like, you know, your school, why aren't you like so-and-so's daughter? Why aren't your grades? I cannot remember a time my parents ever compared me to someone else. And if they did, it didn't matter. The other thing I talk about quite a bit, and we've talked about this, is they let me just be me. I'm a very curious child.
spoken about this.
You and I have talked about this. There's actually one time you were talking, you know, just keep your thoughts to yourself sometimes, because people will think you actually use the word mogoroki, which means crazy in Kikuyu. And I remember asking you, what does that say about you, since we think very alike?
Yeah.
So even if there was pressure at school, from pressure at from, you know, the teachers and everything, when I went home, I was just allowed to be me. I'm curious. I'm not normal. I'm not normal in the expectation of what normal was supposed to be. I have never fit in, but I have never had the desire to. So I'm out there just living life. And I remember a friend of mine, actually in 2020, we were having this conversation. And I was so jazzed, like, why? Why aren't you? I was talking about Kenyan women in this specific context. You're all these amazing women, but you hide it behind what people think that you should do. You're unique. You're powerful. Why don't you live your authentic self? And she said something very interesting, which I had never thought about. She was like, it was beaten out of us in school. So everybody was like, it's too hard. I'll just conform and go be what I'm supposed to be.
You know the story of the elephants, like the Indian elephants, the ones that are used for work.
Yes.
How they're broken into, how they're tied, they're chained from when they're babies, and the chain is staked into the ground, and it doesn't matter how hard that elephant tries, it cannot break away from that chain. Yeah, and it grows up like that, and at some point, the elephant is way bigger than that chain or stake, but because it is what it knows. Now the chains are in its mind. It's put that chain, it will just sit there docilely. That's what happens to a lot of people. You know, that you are conditioned from so young. And yes, like in school, we went through the public school system. You know, we were not allowed to have a voice.
Nope.
Questioning was, yes, you're not allowed to have children were to be seen and not to be heard. You know? And so you grow up like that, And then one day someone is telling you, okay, let's hear your voice. You're like, I don't even know what my voice
What
sounds
is
like.
my voice?
I don't know.
What do you mean?
Exactly. And then you go you go have children and do the same thing that was done to you to them.
Your children, yeah.
So I found myself up until I think my firstborn was around 18 or 19.
Mm-hmm.
I was parenting my children the way I was parented.
Yeah, because that's what you know.
Because it's what I know, And then we had to go through this season of where I was unlearning how to be a parent. I was unlearning all the things that I had put upon myself that society had taught me about being a good parent, what a good parent looks like. And then I had to kind of now do this journey with them, and especially with my older kids. I have 4 kids. So my older kids are the ones where we're in that space where we can actually now talk through some of the things that we went through. And my kids would tell me, like my daughter, because she didn't have filters.
Yeah, she's very, I'll just say, but
she's
she's
so
beautifully
expressed.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll be like, Mommy, we spent a lot of years just being so frightened of you. We once had a house help who used to abuse them, used to beat them like mad.
But they would never tell you.
They would not tell me because they were more afraid of me than they were of her.
Wow.
I mean, that's a terrible thing to be told by your child, So I then had to go through this process of unlearning my parenting style. And then also letting go of the masks,
Yep.
I was like, okay, guess what? I've never parented before. So
and there's nothing like perfect in parenting.
Here's the thing. We're kind of on this journey. You guys have never been children before. So, let's fumble our way through it. I stopped trying to be that whole, I was always number one in class type of parent. I never was, In fact, studying was a huge problem for me. I see it with some of my kids, and I'm okay with it now.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, listen, this is who now I really am. Let's deal with this and let's see who you really are.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are the things that you love? What conversations do you want to have? Are they messy? And then I also want my children to be in a space where, because we grew up, like us guys, this was not your experience, clearly, but we grew up with our parents were very strict. So I would rather go and tell my problems to a stranger out there than, go back home and say, I'm having this problem or I'm having this issue, help.
My parents were strict. And sometimes I look back and it's actually, I don't think they did it consciously. A few years ago, my mom actually told me, I am in awe of you. Where did you come from?
Oh, wow.
I'm like, you
That's
allowed
so
me to be.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's because they're educators. So they had some ways of just letting the curiosity go. They were very strict, don't get me wrong. I used to get in trouble a lot. And me being a tomboy, you already know this, and I have opinions. So yeah, I did get in trouble. But even though I could get punished for getting in trouble, there's also something they never told me. I have never had the word, you can't do that, from my parents.
You see, this is stuff that people should tell parents,
Yeah.
especially new parents. Don't limit your children. Don't put those vikwasos on them.
On them, yes.
Just let them be. Guide them, yes. But let them be. Let them find their own voices and stuff like that. Because like we grew up in it was a very traditional household. So yes, there's a whole list of you can'ts, and I know my parents are amazing people. They literally did the best they could with the tools that they had.
All of them did.
Yeah. They were doing the best they could with the tools that they had. Now we've been exposed to more knowledge, but even knowing the things that I know now, I find myself sometimes sliding back to, because it's so much more convenient.
And it is, even learning, what people don't realize is that's still your base.
Yes.
So you'll always kind of revert there, and then you have to catch yourself, consciously go, okay, I know better. I need to move for me and
Yeah.
for my children, for, in your case, to take care because I know better. So when did this realization that the way you were parenting wasn't empowering and you were kind of passing on the same wounds and the same trauma to your children, how did that come about?
I think this was in, my second born was 19, I think. No, he was 18 or 17. And we were struggling with him. Yeah. And so we had to have a conversation about mental health issues. Yeah. He was struggling with mental health issues. I didn't even know I had mental health issues. In the way we grew up,
Because
mental
our word
health
is actually so taboo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this mental health is just basically a personality, a character problem.
Yep.
You've got a weak character, So for me to get to the point where I'm actually acknowledging this as a problem, and then dealing with it accordingly, I needed to go through my own mental health.
In order to be able to show up for your son.
Exactly, for my kids. And I think that's when I started really questioning about a lot of my parenting styles. Because of course you talk to a lot of people and they tell you, yeah, this is how you should deal with this and this is how you should deal with this. But it doesn't feel right. Like in my spirit, it was not feeling right, So then I remember one time we had a conversation, in fact, with him, and I was like, listen, honestly, I don't know what I'm doing.
Wow.
I don't know. Yeah, I thought I was doing the right thing, but clearly I was not. So let's kind of start again. Let's see. And it was so freeing, by the way. So now I'm that mom. Hopefully, I think they call me the cool mom. I'm not sure.
But yeah, I think they call you the cool mom.
I might be the cool mom.
Yes.
But I'm the one who, they know, first of all, mommy loves her dance. So, every Thursday we know she's going out to hang.
To hang and dance.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
And she likes her gene, and that's okay. And I stopped trying to be the perfect parent.
Yep.
I just stopped. I dropped the ball completely, on those things, and started now really connecting with them from a human point of view. I'm still a parent when I'm needed to be a parent, because,
you are.
there are times when you need to kind of step in and say, listen, this is the direction that you really need to take. But it's my way or the highway. It stopped being my way or the highway. I also had to let go of a lot of things, because, like, for instance, my house, I used to run my house like a military
camp or something.
A military organization. Meals are at this time, these things are done at this time, people bath at this time, like that. And the pressure to just keep that up was killing me.
Yeah.
And because you're also dealing with other personalities, different people, it's so difficult to do. So now and COVID really helped, by the way, also, because COVID meant we were spending a lot of time together. So we got to know each other in ways that we probably did not know each other before. And things like chores. There are people in my house who likes chores? Like
nobody
dishes
does. Yeah.
are not a thing. But I'm not going to be able to force my people to do some of these things. It's still a prayer item, by the way. But I'll be like, so you guys create your schedule, sort these things out, and I'll come back and find nothing has been done. And I'll become that guy instead of the one who, because before I would lose my
cool completely.
I'd lose my cool completely. I'll be shouting, screaming. That is, I'll be like, who was supposed to do this? They didn't do it. Okay. Are you going to do it? Yes. When? In an hour. Okay. And then I carefully walk around all the dirty things, get my things, and then carefully step over
all the dirty things.
Yeah. But for me, who especially has OCD sometimes with some of these things, this is
gross.
As I think I talked to my therapist about it, because I'm like, hey, let me tell you, I've had to kind of figure this. I'm trying to figure this thing out and I'm struggling with it, So it's also, it kind of also discombobulates you. It means that you're questioning a lot of the things that you believe, or the things that are important to you, Why are they important to you? Why is it a must that my children show up like cadets
Yeah.
in the army, you know,
The sound of music.
what exactly, you know? So yeah, I'd say for me that my parenting style changed significantly when my son was about 18.
I know your children, and you've raised this well balanced, not trying to be perfect. They go into the world as themselves. They show up in their uniqueness and their power. How are you able, and not even just you, because there's also society and how it makes them feel, especially at this age, they're young. Your two oldest are right now in their early 20s.
Yes.
Social media, the pressure out there. How have you managed, or how have they managed to just be, I'm not going to say unbothered, because no one is completely unbothered, but to still go through life as themselves and not trying to morph into what society is trying to tell them to be?
I think it's been okay. Maybe they might have a different point of view, though. I'm speaking from what I can see. But I think it has helped that I'm a creative. So for me, already thinking different is natural for me. Yeah. So, and they are also creatives. My children are all
They are
creatives.
very creative, yes,
Yeah.
all of them.
They're these gorgeous souls. They're so fantastic. I think one of the things that I can say that maybe I've helped them with is to kind of also buffer them against society. My son has a very interesting sense of style.
Am I allowed to talk about him a little?
Yes,
Okay.
please do. We're going to.
All right.
Sorry, Andrew, we're about to embarrass you, but
So, yeah.
so Andrew is a model. He's my
Yeah.
second born. He's a model and a boxer.
International
Yes.
runway model. We are not talking, no, we are talking Valentino and Gautier, and literally international model.
Yeah, so he walks the runways in Paris and
Milan,
and
London,
all those places.
Yep.
And so when he's here, he really celebrates his fashion sense, and he's got a unique and gorgeous fashion sense. Now there's a way that it can rub
some people the wrong way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've had to, because there's sometimes I know I've put up pictures of him like on my social media, and then I'll get a random comment from someone about how, my son I'm encouraging my son to be feminine or something like that,
I can see that.
and I'll be like, So, and I stopped doing that knee-jerk reaction where I want to fight with someone about that. And I'm like, why do you think that,
So that's their opinion.
He's expressing himself.
Yep.
So I think I provide that buffer for them now, because even my daughter Nicole is this amazing artist,
Yeah.
with such a unique sense of style. If I dressed like Nicole, I would be arrested, but she just manages to look.
She's just so effortlessly her. It doesn't even look like she put, the way she dresses, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
I would never have thought of putting that together. But it's not, weird on her, or you.
Exactly.
Actually, it's admirable. You're just like, wow.
Yeah. And the way even she thinks, she thinks so different. When she was in high school, I remember having issues with, I remember it came up with one of her teachers, because I think it was a CRE class or something, and they were talking about dreams. And so everyone was being asked what they dream about, and she said, well, most of my dreams are quite bloody. It was murder and mayhem, basically, which also concerned me slightly as a parent. But, the way the school reacted to it was a little, I thought, unnecessary. We all have our... Here's the thing.
Those dark things.
In order to have light, you must have dark.
Yeah.
Yeah? If you can go to embrace the dark sides of you, your light shines brighter.
Yeah.
Because they're all a part of you. So Nicole has been able to do that so amazingly well. And it comes out in her art.
It does.
She's a fine artist. She's a painter. She's better than I will ever be in my lifetime, And so I look at the stuff she does. I don't understand all of it. But I just celebrate it because I'm like, I can see her being authentically her.
Herself.
So for them, perfectionism, maybe it might show up in a different way, and this is a conversation maybe you need to have with them.
With them, yeah.
But from where I sit right now, I don't think they struggle with the kind of perfectionism that I would. Like her as a woman, I don't think she has the kind of baggage that I had growing up. Maybe her baggage will show up in a different way. And I'm sure, everyone ends up with some baggage.
We all have some baggage.
Yeah. So I think that one of the things that I'm grateful and kind of I give myself a pat on the back for is I feel like I've allowed my children to be their flawed, fully expressed, beautiful selves. Yeah.
And Andrew was it 2020 when he started modeling? Or was it 2020?
Yeah, I think it was 2020.
It was 2020. Was it 2020?
He actually left in 2021.
Yes. And I remember because what people don't know,
2022.
even me, my friends, when they've asked me, oh, wow, Kanyi's son, did he always want to be a model? That was actually not Andrew's thing. It just kind of happened.
He fell into it, literally.
He actually fell into it.
Yeah.
And even his first runway, you'd think he had been doing it for years or walking the runway and practiced, which is something he had never done.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show about the confidence in the man that he is.
Yeah.
And I was in awe. I'm like, how does this kid who has never been on a runway, and I think, was his first one Gautier?
It was one of the first. It was one of it might not be the first show. But it was one of the first, the early shows that he did.
And I never saw the whole. You sent pictures, and a video, and I was like,
I know, walking in high heels. He was wearing high heels, block heels, higher than any shoe. You probably as high as the ones you're wearing now. And walking with utmost confidence. And doing it like he's natural.
You think it's his whole life.
I always say that Andrew is the most self-actualized person in my house. He's that young man is self-actualized. We have such gorgeous conversations about soul things. We'll talk about. I remember one time. I learned things from him. We were talking about anger, because I was telling him, I struggle with anger. I have a hair trigger temper sometimes. And he said, I used to be like that. And then I started thinking about, I'm not reacting to the thing that has happened. The anger is inside me already waiting to happen.
Yeah.
And I was telling him that really resonated with me, because I think at that time I was listening to a lot of Wayne Dyer, and he talks about that. Mm-hmm. He says, when you squeeze an orange, what comes out? Orange juice. Mm-hmm. It's never mango juice. It's never passion. It's never, strawberry. It will always be orange juice.
Yes.
So if every time you're squeezed, anger comes out, it means that
what's in you.
It's what in you. So you need to figure where that is coming from.
What's causing it?
And I was like, I'm being told this by my child.
So profound.
Yeah, it's really profound. So it actually, even now, when I find myself getting angry, actually sit and there's a part of me that says, I wonder what it is about this particular situation that is feeding into your anger center. It's not even about the situation or the person.
It's just that.
It's something that
was just the trigger.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And this is my child. This is my child we're having this conversation with,
Wow.
So I'm really proud of my kids. I find them amazing in the stuff they do. Even the last two, Nathan and Adrian, they're also they're in the process of unfolding, of blooming, and they're all such different personalities, so different. It's amazing. So you have to kind of deal with each one
differently.
Yeah, it's like a journey. It's like a journey into each one. Yeah, so I'm waiting to see how they unfold.
I love watching them and the way, because I've met them, it's 8 years and they grow so fast.
Yeah.
Because they were so, like Adrian was.
A little boy,
10?
Yes, when you first met him.
Yeah.
And now he's this tall,
tall. You're like, what happened? Where is the little boy?
lanky young
man.
mad
Yeah.
about
Cars. Sports
sports
cars, actually.
specifically.
Speed.
Yeah, and
Yes.
basketball, has an incredible sense of curiosity. Adrian he reminds me a lot of me because he's very curious about a lot of things, so we'll also talk about, he wants to know the why or the how of things. So I find that just amazing. Nathan is he's like, I don't know if Moses was a person
He would be.
right now, maybe it would be Nathan.
Yeah.
Very calm spirit.
Very, very
almost
calm.
Drives his brother crazy because nothing will ruffle Nathan, and Aaron is a bit more emotive.
Yeah.
A watcher of things, just watches everything, but thinks deeply about everything, and is will never ever want to cause hurt to anyone.
Yeah.
No one,
He's such a gentle soul.
Very gentle soul, and a musician like you'd not believe.
I haven't heard him play yet.
Even
sing.
I have rarely heard him play. It's so rare to hear him. He plays a guitar and he also does voice. We only once had him. We had him perform at the winners' concert at the ABRSM thing he used to do. And I remember watching it and I'm like, this is my child. Oh my God.
Even they surprise you.
Yes, constantly. They're little universes just waiting to be explored. Yeah. So if at the end of my life, if I'm asked what I'm most proud of, I would say those kids.
Those humans.
Yeah, those kids.
They're phenomenal.
Yeah, they really are.
So
I would love to banish the word perfection from their lives.
It shouldn't exist, by the way.
Yeah.
So a few years ago, you had to shut down a business you had for 17 years.
Yes.
And as a person also who owns a business, I know how attached you can get. How did that affect this whole
It wasn't
feeling
even
of
17.
perfection?
Was it 17 years?
How long had you had it?
That was, so I shut it down in 2020.
Yes.
And by shutting down means I moved offices. The company still exists.
The company still exists, but the big office you
but
had
the office,
and the
I moved into that
employees
office in 2003.
Wow.
So in 2020, COVID happens, and I realized very quickly I need to shut down. I need to let go of my people. And honestly, I'm a creative and I love randomness, but there's a part of me also that just likes structure, So the thought of having to change all that was so frightening. It helped that the entire universe was going through change. So that really helped. Otherwise, I don't think I'd have been able to do it. That was, oh my God, it took me like 3 or 4 months to just kind of get over that. I was very action oriented. I was doing things. I was not thinking through, need to shut this down, need to let go of people, need to do this, move everything home. I was just acting. I was not thinking. So now we are in the deep of COVID and we are sitting at home all day, the only thing you can do is think.
Yep.
And man, I struggled. Then I allowed myself, but I had to allow myself to mourn because I was giving up a way of life and a way of being and a structure that I had had for over 10 years.
Since your
2003 to last year would have been 20 years.
Yeah, still in your 20s,
it was 18
by the way. It's something,
19.
It was your way of life since your 20s.
Yes,
yeah.
It was my way of life. And then I'd been in the same space for all that time. I'd never moved.
Like, funny enough, every time I go by there to this day, I still go, wow, I can't just go upstairs and go see Kanyi in her office. Yes.
It still kind of hurts a little bit. Even when the other day I was in town and I was like, so I passed out there and I was like, I remember when this was my hood, I knew everyone around there. It was my comfort zone. People used to tell me, gosh, I don't know how you work in town. And for me, it was home.
And I've driven with you to the office because
Yeah.
it took me a while to even drive to town.
Yeah.
And literally the way you would get there, I'm like, how does she just?
It's home.
You
You
had
get
your
used to
parking
it.
spot. You had
Yeah, I have my guys, everyone knows
Everybody.
me. As in I could leave my car unlocked there in
Right.
town and I'm good, So for me that was, and it was part of the unmasking that I kind of needed to do also, because it meant that I needed to let go of something that I'd held. It had not worked for a long time, by the way, yeah? Because I think
you
from
were
the
still
last,
holding on.
was it 2015, 2017, the last elections? That's when business really started going down for us. And I was still holding on. And let me tell you, if COVID had not happened,
You'd probably still be holding on.
yeah, I'd be dead, but I'd still be holding
Holding
on
on.
tightly to it, But now COVID happened and I'm really grateful. Honestly, it was a terrible time, but I'm really grateful for it because it helped me do that transition. Yeah. Have I fully transitioned? And I know it's been like what? Oh, it's now going to 4 years.
Yeah.
So I work from home now and I still struggle with it. Like I still do that whole, like my routine. We're talking about my routine earlier on.
Yes.
Like I'll do the whole shower, change, and I'll dress up. And my sister is one who brought this up to me the other day. She's like, "Why are you going downstairs with your handbag?" I was like,
"Oh,
because." So I pick up my handbag and leave and go downstairs,
and then
like I'm leaving the house, and I'm not. But if I don't do that, then I'm not able to function.
So
it just takes me a really long time to settle down. Yeah. So I need that. So I'm still in the process of transitioning.
And grieving.
My wardrobe had to
it.
change.
Yeah.
I was always a very formally dressed type of person when I was in the office. And then now suddenly I'm at home all the time. So now I was like, I have one pair of jeans. Now I probably need to get a few more. And stuff like that. I am unable, even when I'm sitting in the house the whole day, I am unable to wear sweats.
So you still won't do it?
I will dress up. I will put on
a dress or
I'll do eyeliner and a little lip gloss and go and sit at my desk. I still need to hold on to some of those things. One day I'll let go of them probably.
And you will.
Or not.
You will. It's actually, you've done really well. I'm really proud of how much you've let go.
But I needed to also kind of figure out, because I felt like, gosh, people are not going to look at me the same way anymore.
The perfection part.
Exactly.
People's expectations.
Exactly. That was a struggle. That took me about a year to get over.
And do people actually look at you differently, or was that you
honestly
thinking that they would?
I have no idea.
That's an amazing thing.
I have no idea how they look at me. I stopped worrying about it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be.
I honestly stopped worrying about it. There's some people who, like in the corporate space, who probably, we don't spend as much time together with. But it's still okay.
And that's part of life shifting. And life is supposed to shift, during different seasons.
Change is constant.
Yes. If that's the thing, being in corporate and you owning a business is a thing that, connected you.
Yeah.
Then
it's okay to let it go.
Yeah, it's okay to let it go.
Yeah.
It's okay. And find those other humans that you are supposed to connect with in this phase of the artist.
Yeah. The only thing that I struggle with still right now is that because I work from home, I tend to, I can go into my cave type of thing. And then, you need networks, you need connections.
Yes.
I'm finding that I'm struggling with getting out there. Yeah. There's sometimes I'm like, okay, right, we need to do this and this and this. And we need to go out there and do a couple of networking things, or, just kind of meet people, or just even go out sometimes and not just be on emails with people. And I'll start doing that. I'll say, let's do that next week. So I can tell that there's something there I need to look at, that I need to deal with.
This is also what I've realized. When you start having real conversations and going deep to know yourself and not performing for people, sometimes you have a hard time being out with people because you want to have deeper conversations.
It's such a
and
chore.
It's all small talk, and because I struggle with that.
The
and I'm
small
just
talk I mean, I can do it with the best of people. Let me tell you.
And you can do it very well.
I can small talk you to death. but inside I'm dying slowly because I'm like, oh my God, this is so much work.
Exactly.
So nowadays I actually find that I'm actually seeking out deeper connections with people.
With people.
So it manifests in even the kind of questions I'll ask you. I want to know something about you, that is different, even about the work maybe that you do. I want to kind of understand you even if I don't know
deeper
you.
than this small talk.
I'm looking for those deeper connections now. So I'm enjoying that a lot more than
The mundane
small talk.
and just being out. How do you pour into yourself?
I'm so lucky because I get to paint.
Yeah.
Painting for me is my zone. As in, when I'm painting, I am in the zone completely. Time disappears. I love being in nature. I know, like right now, I'm feeling withered and dry because I have not
been out.
I've not been out for a while. So I need water. I need like large bodies of water. Basically I need a holiday in the coast.
Yeah.
For anyone who
like
feels touched to fund that, please.
Go ahead.
Yeah. But that's how I pour into myself. For me, it has to be a connection with nature. It needs to be a connection with nature. Once a week, I have to go dancing. If I don't dance, I am broken.
Yeah, I need to start joining you because I love dancing and I don't remember the last time I did it.
Man, and we dance, as in we go there, you wear sneakers,
Then you
vest, as in you're ready to dance.
Yeah.
It's not about how you look. It's not about making small. It's dancing where it's a cardio workout. Listening to good music and dancing. I love that. And it's not the same as doing it at home.
No.
I need the connection of other people when I'm doing this, so that I find that really also feeds me. It gives me energy. Yeah. So that's how I feed myself.
The one thing I've never struggled with perfection, but I've struggled with asking for help.
Do you think it's because we are? Because I think there's something about Kikuyu women.
I don't know. I think it's seen as
Kikuyu
for
women.
me. It is. I thought if I went to ask for help, it's a sign of weakness.
Yes.
And you probably can tell because what people don't know you actually did. Everybody compliments the whole why there are branding and everything. You did that. You've actually hand-drawn some of our labels that are on the body mist. You actually would draw them out. That's why I love working with an artist instead of just being graphics.
Oh, that journey was so amazing.
And that journey was so amazing. And I think just starting a business has taught me to ask for help.
Yeah.
And to have no shame. I've never really had shame, but when it came to asking for help, I felt like it was a weakness. Is that how you felt? Like before you started asking for help, did you feel like you?
I still struggle. I still struggle with asking for help. Let me tell you, I talk myself out of it most of the time. I'll be like, Kanyi, surely you must find. You will be able to figure this out. So by the time I'm getting to the point of asking for help, let me tell you, things are so dire. I still literally struggle asking for help. There are some things that I'll find easier to ask for help with, but there are those that I associate with shame that I will not ask for help with. I will wait until I'm fallen on my knees
before
I ask for help. We were literally having this conversation with a good friend of mine yesterday, because he says him asking for help is not a problem. For me, it feels like a weakness.
A weakness, yes.
Like I have failed. Like I am failing when I'm asking for help. Yet I'm not God. I can't do everything.
I've learned since I started doing it. I used to view it as a sign of weakness, but I'm actually realizing it's one of the biggest strengths because you're forced to be vulnerable.
Oh, let me tell you, the universe shows up for you in so many ways. I'm saying this because I'm currently reading a book by Brené Brown. What is it called? Something of the Heart. And she's talking about feelings a lot and vulnerability, because she's always struggled with vulnerability. And she says vulnerability can actually be one of your biggest strengths.
Yes.
You make your best connections when you're vulnerable. When I used to be a Toastmaster okay, I hear you never quit Toastmasters, but when we used to do Toastmasters, my best speeches were the ones where I gave of myself. I gave something from my heart, from my soul, not pure entertainment, but something I was speaking that was close to me or that took something out of me. My best art requires that I fungua my heart wide open, then scoop that blood and probably paint with it or something. That's the art that moves people. So vulnerability is actually such a huge strength, but because we've been so socialized to not think that way,
to not
we
think
struggle
about
with that,
it,
yeah.
especially as Black women, strong Black women. You need to be a warrior. You can never show weakness. You have to be strong and hold everybody together down, and
Yeah.
your family, everyone. And I don't think, I know you said you don't want to be a strong woman anymore. I'm strong. I'm still strong. And I don't think we need to stop being strong, because I think this is a whole movement that's happening. I don't want to be strong.
I mean, I want baby girl treatment now.
No, it is strong in your own definition and showing up as you, because the way we've been showing up and defining strong is what other people defined. Because I'm strong, but I always show up as me. In the last 4 years, I've had a lot of stuff going on. And 2022, actually, I had literally, my world was blown out of my orbit. I'm still trying to gather the pieces together. And I can't imagine what that would be, me trying to gather all those pieces together and putting my world back into orbit, with trying to also act and perform to be perfect.
Can kill you, man.
But the strength is still there, but it's strength as me. And it's the strength to be, you probably noticed in the last couple of years, I'm really not out that much. I've been kind of in my shell.
Yeah.
Because I need that.
This is true.
That space. And it is even with family and telling them, I don't have anything to give right now, because that is strength, but it's a different kind of strength. That's the strength that works for you, not the strength that works for other people and destroying you.
Yeah.
That's the strength that actually you need. So I don't think it is stop being strong, because being able to tell even family, I can't do that. That takes strength.
Oh yeah, that takes a particular type of strength.
But that is a strength that actually you need as a woman to show up uniquely as you and protect yourself. The part to tell friends, I can't do it. Or I'm stepping away. You are not feel the need to apologize or explain it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we are very, like, I know I struggle with that. Saying no to people.
Yeah.
Huge struggle, because I have a messiah complex.
You want to save
I want to
everyone.
save everyone. I want to organize and save everyone. Even to my detriment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So saying no to people is very difficult.
And it's a strength. It's
It
strength
is a
for
strength.
you.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a strength. It's actually a strength, because the weakness is saying yes, even when you don't have the capacity to be able to deal with that. And I've struggled with that for a long, long time. But it's a muscle that I'm building. So I can tell someone, no, I don't want to do that at the moment, and I don't need to tell out why. I don't need to tell you why.
You don't have to explain why. You don't have to apologize, because I feel like sometimes women, even when they say no, they still feel guilty and want to apologize.
And I'm so guilty of that. I'll be like, no, I'm so sorry. I wish I could do that, or maybe. And then I start looking for a problem, a way of solving your problem. So then I'm back there in doing
whatever
what I said I'm not going to do. So I still struggle with that. That's a socialization that I'm still trying to unlearn.
And so mine is not even a socialization. I don't even know what it is, because my mother worries a lot about all of that, being there for people and the opinion of others. And I was having a conversation with my Auntie Grace. You've met Auntie Grace, my mom's older
Yes,
sister.
yes,
She's
yes.
a lot like me somehow.
Yeah.
And her and I were having a conversation like, people's opinions of me are their opinions. They have nothing to do with me. And she was like, yeah, me too. And my mom is just like, oh my, these people. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
And I don't know where I got it from.
Yeah.
But somehow it appeared, and I'm glad it did, because sometimes when you're going through life and it's because life happens, and sometimes it's hard
You need to
and
take a step
it's
back.
tough, and you need to take a step back. And I don't want to perform to be okay when I'm not. And a lot of us do that. And that's why mental health and women are struggling, and they don't share with anyone. And we need to stop.
Yeah.
We need to start showing up for ourselves.
It's so crazy. This journey of human being, the state of human being,
Yep.
is so complex and simple at the same time, because it's complex because of the things that we put upon ourselves.
Yeah. That's actually what makes it complex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be simple because you can actually let go of those things, just drop those burdens and move on,
And don't you wish it was just that easy? Drop
I
and
know.
move on.
It would be so, it would be, oh my gosh. It would be, I think I'm in the process of trying to learn how to do that. So I'm dropping one at a time, but very politely, because we're polite.
Yeah.
Drop one at a time and then see whether you've created too much of a ripple.
Of a ripple or not.
Then if not, then drop another one and then walk on, So I'm enjoying that process though. I'm enjoying that process. Yeah.
And as much and I can sit here and say, I don't need to be perfect, but I feel like in every society you have to pick your battles.
Yes.
So when I came back from the US, and I think we've talked about this before, I don't exactly act the way I used to, because it's a different culture and a different society. And coming back home, I still need to adjust
Yes.
how
no need
I
in
act
in
and
setting the
how
house
I
on fire,
show up. Yes,
Yeah.
why am I setting the house on fire? There's
Yeah.
no need to set the house on fire.
Yeah.
And when we were creating Whether and Be Limitless, actually we talked about that being one of the things, because none of us live in a vacuum.
Yes.
So we're not saying go there and
You kind of
complete
have some responsibility
ability. You live in a society. You have
to
a
your
responsibility.
society.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a balance there,
Yes.
And that's one of the things that I've actually also been struggling with also, because there's a way that I think now that is so different from what society expects of me. So I'm trying to manage society's expectations of me with me being authentically me.
You. Yes.
Yeah. And so it's like saying, listen, I love you very much, but this, we have different points of view. But it's okay. We can still coexist together.
And it's coexisting.
Yes,
That's
it's
actually,
coexisting.
we coexist where everyone is
Yeah.
happy.
Exactly.
You pick your battles, and that's part of life. I remember having this conversation with my cousin Shiko. Shiko, and how she's very young and very spirited
amazing.
and very out there. And I was going to a party, and it was a white dress party, but there were going to be older people in this party that we know, and I needed to go buy a dress. And she asked me, but you have so many white dresses. I was like, yeah, but my white dresses are the length is not quite the right length for this event.
May
I thought you said you just
ripples.
live yourself, embrace yourself, and be limitless.
With some
I was
responsibility.
like, yes, but limitless also means being responsible.
Yeah. You have to choose your battles.
Yeah.
You need to understand you're not solo. You're not running solo.
You're not running solo, and it's actually worse. You don't want to make other people uncomfortable either in this space.
Yeah.
Because that's not good for you or anyone else.
Exactly.
So my whole thing is, if I can't show up and choose my battles, then I'm not going.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go, like you said, set the house on fire.
Exactly. No need.
There's no need.
Why? Choose the path of least resistance sometimes.
Yes. And sometimes that is okay even for self-preservation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Self-preservation must be. observed.
So what would you tell, two questions actually, a woman, we're Gen X, we are almost 50, we were just talking about it. And I feel like sometimes we have the biggest struggles in this perfection thing. I feel like Gen Z's actually, it doesn't bother them as much. I
No,
guess
it
it's a
doesn't bother
different
them.
kind of perfection.
It will end with our generation.
What would you advise a woman who is struggling with this letting go, and it's basically she's in pain and it's killing her, but she's still performing and acting to be this perfect woman?
I would say be kind. Be kind to yourself. We are never kind to ourselves.
No,
You know,
we are not.
be kind to yourself. Forgive yourself.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then start letting, if you're a me type of woman, start letting go of those burdens one by one. See what happens when you let one go.
One by one go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Experiment. See what, because a lot of self-help books will tell you, just
Let go.
let go and just that's setting
That
the house on
doesn't- that- yeah.
fire. But let them go one by one, and then really question yourself. Why do you believe the things that you do? Were you taught those things? Do you believe them because they have value for you? Do you believe them because they give you a place in society? Why?
Yeah, why?
And if they serve you, by all
Okay.
means, carry on. If they don't, start the process of letting them go. That's my advice. Also, drink a lot of wine and laugh a lot and dance.
And dance. And for the younger generation, and I can say you have some expertise. You're raised and you're still raising, and you're putting them out there in the world to just go be themselves. For the younger generation, how would you tell them, not to try and fall into these perfect pressures and with social media and everything going on?
Okay, I was going to say that perfectionism does not exist for the younger generation, but you've just mentioned social media,
Yeah.
and I remembered it does.
It does on
Yeah.
social
So
media.
what the pressure that they feel is trying to keep up with what they see on Instagram stories, and what I'd tell them is, remember, you are looking at a caption, a curated caption of someone's life.
Yeah.
Curated.
Curated.
Yeah. You do not know what's going on in the background. Okay? If it makes you feel better, curate yours also and put it out there. But understand there is nothing realistic about it.
Nothing. Zero.
So you cannot use it as a standard for your life. You're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah. And
You're just
pain.
setting yourself up for pain, failure, and
Misery.
a lot of mental health issues.
Yeah.
So understand, look at it the way you watch a movie. The way when you go and watch a movie,
And they're
you're
so
like,
unrealistic.
you
by the way.
know
You're looking
that
at
it's
the
not
scene and
real.
you're going, really?
But guess what? When you're at the movie theater and you'll pay money for it,
Yeah.
you pay money to go and sit down and say, right, I am here to be entertained.
It's entertainment.
Look at it as entertainment.
Yeah.
That is all. And then run your own race. Yeah, that's what I'd tell them.
But how do they learn to run their own race? What resources?
Trust yourself. Your creator gave you everything you need. It is inside you. It is nowhere. It is not out there. It is inside you. Spend more time inside you than anywhere else. You will find it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Kanyi, I have really enjoyed this conversation. And
Oh,
I
me
knew
too.
it'd be incredible. When I thought about having this conversation, you're the first person that came to mind.
Oh, thank you.
And I told a friend of mine that knows both of us, and they asked, why Kanyi? And then I listed why Kanyi. They're like, wow, I didn't even know that.
Oh, wow.
But I've also seen your transition just in the last 8 years since I knew you.
The last couple of years.
Just the last couple of years. And you've been very vocal. I also love the fact that you're vocal about what
one
you're
of the
going
things
through
in
and
our
what you're
family,
dealing
we
with.
don't know how to keep secrets. So
Actually, you will tell people, like, I don't know how to keep a secret. I
I'm
don't
like,
keep a secret.
please don't give me your secret, because man,
No, it's please.
especially if it's my secret, I don't know how to curate my
Curate
life
your life. And
for
no, I
public
can't curate my
consumption.
life for, I don't know either.
Yeah.
I actually have no idea.
Yeah.
And it actually, a friend of mine was telling me about somebody I know who is their friend. And they said during COVID, this person is very active on social media and they give a very, very, very curated life. And during COVID, they were in a really, really, really bad space. Depression, mental health issues. So they were telling my friend, this was maybe 2 years later, their friend, who is also my friend, on the days there will be a glimpse of, I feel a little better out of the fog. That's the day they would spend the whole day taking pictures in different outfits, in different makeups. So they have a store for posting. I said, that's a really sad life.
I know. What I'm loving now that social media has become a lot more, like now I notice, like on my IG, a lot of the stuff that shows up, and I guess it's because I look for it, is stuff about people having real lives,
Yes.
real stuff.
And for our generation, I think it's a little bit more the real whatever. But
Yeah.
when I look at the younger ones and
those
who
guys
they're
are all-
following and who is really they're looking up to, is still very, very curated.
Yeah.
And if you look at even the way Instagram rates a photo and even the likes, post something real and you get 20
2
likes.
likes.
Post something very curated, completely made up in some amazing place, and look at the difference.
200 likes, or post something negative.
Yes,
I
or
find it so
something
interesting.
negative.
Like on Twitter, I have what I think is a large following on Twitter. And when I do my posts, I'll find like 5-10 likes. And then there was a day I had a rant. I was having one of my lower moments. And we'd gone to the orphanage or something, the national park. And there was that whole process nowadays that you have to do that takes up a lot of time. So there's a huge backlog. And I remember I did a rant on Twitter about it. Let me tell you, that thing had like 20,000
Are you serious?
impressions and stuff. And I was like, why can't we do this for my art, know?
All the good stuff that's happening.
Let's do the feel good stuff, Yeah, so I don't know. There's a lot of pressure. We thought that technology was going to make our lives easier. It's complicated our lives and made us really, really miserable.
Because comparison usually used to be the people in school,
the people
neighbors,
who you are with, and remember you are all kind of in the same place. So it was not a big deal, you know. Yeah, now you're comparing yourself with someone in the States.
With the whole world.
Yeah, the entire world is your competition now. You're like, God, it's a lot. There's a lot of pressure. So if we can let go of perfectionism,
I say let go. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I even wonder where it came from.
Also ask yourself, the people who sometimes hold you to these standards, are they doing that because they're important to you, or you're important to them?
You're actually none, for the most part.
Yeah. So
with social media, you actually end up caring so much about what people think about you. People who don't even know you, you don't know, and they don't care about you.
Yeah. We're designed to be such social creatures that we need the connection, the human connection. So everyone is looking for love, affirmation, affection, So that's why we are all on social media, actually. That's what it does for us, But if you can find ways of getting it that is
getting the real, because even the social media affection, it's not real.
It's not real.
Yeah.
So if you can make that distinction and actually pursue real love and affection and real connections with people who are authentic and who will help you become your best authentic self.
Yes.
That's
Embrace
what we should be aiming for.
That uniqueness, the person you are, and stop performing for others, because actually that's where we fail, because in our uniqueness lies our greatest power.
Yes.
And our greatest
We're
strength.
each fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes.
And each one of us has a gift for the universe, but you're not going to find it if you're not being authentic.
I'm glad I got to do this with you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so, so much. Continue being you. I know you are out there talking to the youth. Your kids' friends have started coming to you and just having real conversations with you. I've seen it in action. I've seen you. There's a time we were having a photo shoot, and one of the models, a very young model, was struggling, and you're the only person she gravitated to talk to. Do you remember
Oh,
that?
I
It was
don't actually, but
no, it wasn't a photo shoot. I don't remember what it was. We were at your parents' house.
oh, yes.
And she just came to you. And not just her, even the friend she had come with.
I kind of remember that.
You
I
kind of
have a
remember that?
mild, yeah.
And we were sitting there looking at you, like even Shiro and everybody, because we already knew them. And how did they just, like, how were you able to get that in an hour and you're a perfect stranger to them? They had
Maybe,
never even met you.
maybe I should start therapy or something.
Something just, and because you didn't judge them, so they could
Yeah.
come to you and talk to. So keep doing that.
Thank you.
You know, guiding the youth so they don't fall into this trap we
Yeah.
fell into, that we are still trying to raise ourselves out
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
So, guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope our shared experiences resonated with you. If they did, subscribe, tell your friends, and keep listening. Thank you so much.